Ever find yourself, like, stuck on a website that just feels so clunky? Like you just wish you could swap out that checkout process for something, I don't know, smoother.
Yeah, totally.
What if I told you there's a way to basically handpick the best software for each part of your online business? Like assembling your dream team, but for e-commerce.
It's like having a custom-built online store perfectly tailored to your needs.
That's the power of composable commerce. And in this deep dive, we're going to break down exactly how it works, especially if you're thinking about expanding your business globally.
It's a game changer for sure, especially in today's fast-paced digital landscape.
So composable commerce, it's kind of a mouthful, right? What exactly are we talking about here?
In the past, businesses were basically stuck with these massive software suites for their online stores. Everything was bundled together, whether you needed it or not.
Ah, the good old days. Or maybe not so good, depending on how you look at it.
Right. But composable commerce changes all that. It's about having the freedom to choose the best solutions for each part of your online business.
So instead of being stuck with a one-size-fits-all solution, you can pick and choose the components that work best for you. Kind of like building with Legos.
Exactly. Need a new payment gateway? Swap it out. Want to revamp your CRM? No problem.
Okay, let's back up for a second.
Mhm.
I know we've talked about headless commerce before. How does composable commerce fit into that picture?
So think of headless commerce as laying the groundwork. It separates the front end of your website, what your customers see, from the back end, the operational side of things.
It's like separating the stage design from the backstage crew.
Exactly. Composable commerce takes it a step further by letting you break down that back end into even smaller, more manageable components.
So instead of renovating the entire house, you can remodel one room at a time.
Precisely. It's all about flexibility and customization, giving you the power to adapt and evolve as your business grows.
And that's especially important when we're talking about global expansion, right?
Absolutely. When you're dealing with multiple regions, things can get complicated quickly. Different languages, currencies, legal requirements.
Mhm.
It's a lot to juggle.
It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while riding a unicycle.
Composable commerce makes it manageable. It allows you to adapt to these regional nuances without having to build a completely separate platform for each country.
So you're saying it can actually simplify global expansion. That sounds counterintuitive, but intriguing.
It's all about choosing the right tools for the job. For instance, imagine you're launching in Germany. Data privacy is a big deal there, right?
GDPR, right. I've heard those regulations are no joke.
Exactly. But with a platform like VTex, you wouldn't have to build a whole new system to comply. They already have features built in that address those specific regulations.
So it's like having a global toolbox, but instead of hammers and screwdrivers, you've got pre-built solutions for handling payments, taxes, even language translations.
Exactly. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
But, and maybe this is the pragmatism me talking, we're not saying every business needs to ditch their current setup and go full composable overnight, right?
And not at all. One of the beauties of composable commerce is that you can take a phased approach.
So dip your toes in, test the waters, and then dive in head first if you like what you see.
Exactly. Start with one area like your checkout process and see how it goes. You don't have to do a complete system overhaul right away.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. So for our listeners who are ready to dip those toes in,
Yeah.
what's the first big decision they need to make?
The architecture. Centralized versus decentralized. That's where things get interesting.
Ooh, sounds technical. Break it down for us.
Essentially, do you want one central hub controlling all your regional stores, or do you want to give each region more autonomy?
So like one global headquarters versus regional offices, each with some decision-making power.
Kind of. A centralized architecture is great for maintaining a consistent brand image and streamlining operations.
Keeps things nice and tidy?
Right. But if you need to cater to specific regional nuances like language variations or local payment preferences, a more decentralized approach might be a better fit.
So it's like choosing between a chain restaurant with a consistent menu and a local eatery that adapts to regional tastes.
I like that analogy. It really depends on your priorities and the specific needs of your business.
And I'm guessing those needs can vary wildly depending on where you're operating and who your target audience is.
Exactly. You mentioned language variations, but think about things like currency conversions, local payment preferences, even cultural sensitivities. A decentralized approach allows you to address these nuances more effectively.
It's like you don't want to offer chopsticks at a steakhouse in Texas, right?
Exactly. You want your online store to feel like it belongs in the region you're targeting.
Okay, so we've got centralized versus decentralized. What other big decisions are we wrestling with here?
Data synchronization. This is a big one, especially as we're talking about all these regional variations. How do you keep your inventory, customer data, and orders in sync across multiple time zones and platforms?
It's like juggling multiple plates while riding a unicycle. Impressive, but potentially disastrous if things get out of sync.
Exactly. You need a robust system that can handle real-time data synchronization across all your regions. Imagine a customer in Paris adding an item to their cart, and your platform needs to instantly update inventory globally so you don't accidentally oversell that same item to someone in Tokyo.
Talk about a logistical nightmare.
Right. Or imagine a customer in New York placing an order and then wondering if it went through because it's 3 a.m. at your headquarters in London. Seamless customer experience relies on these behind-the-scenes systems working flawlessly.
So it's not just about choosing the right storefront design. It's about making sure the entire operation runs smoothly behind the scenes.
Precisely. And that's where choosing the right set of tools from your composable commerce toolbox comes into play. We're talking platforms here.
Ooh, the platforms. Let's dive into that. We've got a few key players on our list today: SAP, Adobe, VTex, Spryker, and Salesforce. Now, I'm assuming it's not a one-size-fits-all situation here.
Not at all. Each platform has its strengths and caters to specific use cases. For instance, SAP Commerce Cloud is a powerhouse for B2B and those hybrid B2B2C models.
B2B2C. Could you unpack that acronym for us? Not everyone listening is fluent in e-commerce jargon.
You're right, my apologies. B2B2C stands for business to business to consumer. Essentially, it's when a business sells to another business who then sells to the end consumer. Think of a wholesale marketplace like Alibaba.
Okay, got it. So SAP would be a good fit for businesses operating in those complex B2B2C ecosystems.
Right, especially if they're already heavily integrated with SAP's existing enterprise systems like ERP and CRM.
Hold on, let's define those for our listeners too. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning, which is like the central nervous system for a business, handling everything from accounting to inventory. And CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, which helps businesses track interactions with their customers.
Excellent points. So if you're a large enterprise already deeply rooted in the SAP ecosystem, it's a natural fit for your online store. You've got that seamless data flow between your online store and your back-end systems.
It's like having all your ducks in a row speaking the same language, working towards the same goal.
Exactly. Now, on the other hand, Adobe Commerce, formerly known as Magento, is all about customization.
Adobe. They're a big name in the creative world. How does that translate to e-commerce?
It's a favorite for B2C businesses, especially those looking to craft unique and highly personalized customer experiences. They have a vast ecosystem of extensions and a flexible platform that can be tailored to almost any need. Think of those sleek, visually stunning online stores that tell a brand's story. That's Adobe's sweet spot.
So Adobe is all about giving you the creative freedom to build a truly immersive online experience. What about VTex? We mentioned them earlier. They seem to be the speed demons of the composable world.
They're known for their rapid implementation times and robust marketplace functionalities.
So if you're looking to launch a global marketplace quickly, VTex might be the way to go.
Absolutely. They're all about speed and efficiency, which is crucial in today's fast-paced digital landscape.
It's like they've got a pre-built launch pad for global expansion. You can practically see the countdown timer. Okay, switching gears slightly, for our listeners with complex B2B ecosystems, Spryker seems to be the go-to platform. What sets them apart in that arena?
They pride themselves on their flexibility and customization capabilities, specifically within the B2B space.
So it's like they built a platform specifically for the engineers and developers who love to tinker and fine-tune every single detail.
That's a great way to put it. They understand the complexities of B2B transactions with features like, quote, management and custom catalogs.
It's all about giving businesses the tools they need to manage those complex B2B sales cycles. And last but not least, we have Salesforce, the undisputed champion of customer relationship management. What's their angle on composable commerce?
Salesforce Commerce Cloud is all about, well, customer centricity. Their integration with Salesforce's CRM platform is seamless, allowing businesses to create those truly personalized customer journeys.
They're all about that 360-degree view of the customer, right? Knowing their every like, dislike, and purchase history to create a truly tailored experience.
Exactly. And with composable commerce, they can bring that same level of personalization to the e-commerce experience.
Wow, so many options. But with so many platforms to choose from, it can feel overwhelming. Where do you even begin?
That's why it's so important to carefully evaluate your business needs, your budget, and your long-term goals before committing to any specific platform.
It's like trying to choose the perfect pair of shoes. You need to know your size, your style, and what you'll be using them for before you can even start browsing.
I like that. There's no one-size-fits-all answer in the world of composable commerce. But hey, that's what makes it so exciting.
It's all about finding the platform that aligns most closely with your vision and empowers you to achieve your e-commerce goals. To help you navigate this landscape, we'll provide a handy comparison chart on our website. It outlines the key features and ideal use cases for each platform we've discussed. But choosing the right platform is just one piece of the puzzle. We need to talk about how to measure the success of your migration to a composable model. After all, this isn't just about shiny new tech. It's about achieving tangible business outcomes, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about the cool factor of having a cutting-edge platform. It's about seeing a real return on your investment.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks. What are the key performance indicators, the KPIs, that our listeners should be tracking to make sure their composable commerce strategy is actually working? What should they be paying attention to? I don't know about you, but nothing makes me abandon a website faster than if it's taking forever to load,
Yeah, we've all been there.
like spinning wheel of doom. So I'm guessing page load speed is a pretty important thing to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. It's crucial, especially with a global customer base. You can't expect someone in Brazil, for example, to wait patiently for a page to load from a server in, say, Europe.
Right, because a second's delay can feel like an eternity when you're waiting for a page to load.
Exactly. And those seconds add up. It can be the difference between making a sale and losing a customer to a competitor with a faster site.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of making the sale, that's what it's all about, right? So how do we know if this fancy new composable setup is actually driving sales? What numbers should we be looking at?
Conversion rates are key. You want to track how they change after you make the switch to a composable model. Are more people actually completing their purchases?
So it's not just about getting people to your site, it's about getting them to actually click that buy now button.
Right. And are they doing it more easily? With fewer clicks, maybe? Those are all good signs that your composable approach is working.
It's all about creating that smooth, enjoyable shopping experience that turns those browsers into buyers. Okay, but let's talk bottom line for a second. Composable commerce might offer all this flexibility and customization, but it shouldn't break the bank, right?
Absolutely not. Total cost of ownership is something you definitely need to keep an eye on.
So it's not just about the initial investment, but the long-term financial picture.
Exactly. Is this actually saving you money in the long run? Are you streamlining operations, reducing redundancies? That's what you need to figure out.
It's like, are you getting more bang for your buck with this new setup? It's a question worth asking. But beyond these core KPIs, the cold, hard numbers, are there any, like, bigger picture goals we should be thinking about?
You're hitting on a really important point. KPIs are important, don't get me wrong, but they don't always capture everything. That's where those OKRs come in.
OKRs, right? Objectives and key results.
So,
So, like, what's the overall vision for our composable commerce strategy?
exactly. For example, maybe your main objective is to create a truly seamless customer experience across all regions. And I'm not just talking about fast loading times here.
So, more like a consistent brand experience, no matter where in the world your customer is.
Precisely. It's about making sure everyone has the same great experience interacting with your brand, whether they're in Japan or Brazil or anywhere in between.
That's the dream, right?
Hmm.
But how do you translate that into something measurable, something you can actually track and work towards?
That's where those key results come in. So, for instance, one of your key results could be to reduce latency for international users by a specific percentage.
Latency meaning,
Oh, sorry. Latency is basically the time it takes for your website to respond to a user's actions.
got it. So if we can shave off, say, half a second of loading time for our customers in Japan, that's a win for our global customer experience goal.
Precisely. You're breaking down that big, ambitious goal into smaller, trackable milestones.
Love it. So it's all about setting realistic but challenging targets that contribute to that bigger vision of a truly global, seamless customer experience. This has been incredibly helpful. We've covered a lot of ground here, from the technical nitty-gritty to the strategic big picture stuff. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought, something to really ponder. Imagine you're sitting in the CEO's chair, right? The pressure is on to expand globally. You've decided to go all in on composable commerce. But here's the catch you have to choose a platform today. No more research, no more demos. The decision is yours. What are your top considerations? What factors are weighing most heavily on your mind?
It's the ultimate question, isn't it? And it underscores the fact that there's no single right answer when it comes to composable commerce.
It all depends on your specific needs and priorities.
Exactly. Are you laser focused on creating those hyper-personalized B2C experiences? Maybe Adobe, with its focus on customization, is the best fit.
Or maybe you need something that can handle the complexities of a global B2B marketplace with all those different pricing models and custom catalogs.
In that case, VTex or Spryker might be a better fit. It's about finding the platform that aligns with your vision, your goals, and of course, your budget.
And while it's important to choose the right tools from your toolbox, it's equally important to remember that technology is just one part of the equation.
100%. Success in composable commerce requires a deep understanding of your audience, your business goals, and a willingness to adapt and evolve as your business grows.
Because the world of e-commerce is constantly changing. What works today might not work tomorrow.
Exactly. So be prepared to pivot, experiment, and constantly refine your approach.
Composable commerce gives you the flexibility and control to do just that. It's like having a modular spaceship. You can swap out engines, upgrade your navigation system, and boldly go where no online business has gone before. But seriously, though, it's about having the agility to respond to changing market conditions and customer demands.
And that agility can be a major competitive advantage in today's fast-paced digital landscape.
Absolutely.
And
Okay, before we get too carried away with our spaceship analogy, it really is amazing how quickly things can change in the digital world.
it's true. What worked yesterday might be obsolete tomorrow.
Exactly. So being able to adapt and evolve is key. But, okay, enough about spaceships for now. Let's bring it back down to Earth for a minute. We've talked about a lot of cool tech and exciting possibilities, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to one question. Is this stuff actually working?
Right. Are we seeing those tangible results?
Exactly. So for our listeners out there who are maybe thinking about dipping their toes into the composable commerce waters, what's the key takeaway? What do they really need to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is that composable commerce isn't just some passing fad. It's a fundamental shift in how businesses can approach their online presence. It's about having the freedom and flexibility to create something truly unique, something that perfectly aligns with their brand and their customers' needs.
It's like, forget the cookie cutter approach. This is about baking your own darn cake.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to go all in right away. Start small, experiment, test the waters.
Dip those toes in, see how the temperature feels.
Exactly. And then as you gain confidence, you can gradually build out your composable ecosystem over time.
And who knows, maybe you'll even build that composable spaceship someday. But in all seriousness, folks, whether you're a small business just starting out or a global enterprise looking to level up your e-commerce game, composable commerce is definitely worth exploring. Don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves, experiment, and find that perfect combination of tools to create something truly amazing.
Well said. And amidst all that excitement, don't forget the importance of data.
Right. Those KPIs and OKRs we talked about earlier, they're your compass guiding you towards success.
They help you stay on track, make sure you're hitting your targets, and make those all-important data-driven decisions.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about delivering those exceptional customer experiences that keep people coming back for more. And composable commerce gives you the tools to do just that, no matter where in the world your customers are. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating world of composable commerce. We hope you've enjoyed the journey.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground.
We have. Big thanks to our expert for joining us today and sharing their insights.
It's been my pleasure.
Until next time, happy selling, everyone.
Happy selling.